In this video, I'm going to be talking about how much I earn through Instagram and how much you can earn through Instagram. Now, there's two different ways you can earn on Instagram, and it differs from other social media channels like YouTube, where you can just monetize your content so that people see adverts and you earn money off that when they're looking at your content. But on Instagram, you can't do that, so you have to work directly with brands. There's two ways you can do this. One is through the brand paying you to do a sponsored post or a sponsored story, where they'll pay you to talk about their product. The second one is through affiliate sales, where they don't pay you directly, but through posting the content and directing your followers onto their page. When they make a sale, they give you a slight kickback or commission from each sale. It's tricky, especially if you're new to the sort of Instagram and influencer world, to know how to price up a campaign. A brand comes to you and says, we want you to promote our product. How much will you charge for this? And some brands will come to you and tell you, this is our budget, this is what we're going to pay, are you happy with that? But a lot will ask you how much you charge, and there's a lot of different things to consider here, and luckily there's some websites which are really helpful, but I want to talk through a few things to consider before we jump on and I show you that. So the first thing is obviously followers. It's very important, the number of followers you have, but it's not just about numbers. It's about the reach you make with each post. So some people can have a large following, but when they post a photo, they don't actually get a great reach. Then it's about engagement rate. So, how many people engage with your content, how many people like it, how many people comment on it, how many people share it. And these things are really important. Next is the quality and the originality of the content. And for me, that's one of the most important things. The better the quality of your content, the better your photos and videos, and the more original they are, the more brands are likely to want to work with you, but also the more they're likely to pay. Last but not least, and this one's a very important one for me, is trust. For me, it's about working out products and brands that I'm passionate about, that I would use myself, and then promoting those, because I don't want to promote something that one of my followers buys and it's awful and they're really unhappy with it, because it creates distrust. They won't want to follow me anymore, they won't want to listen to me. Adding value to your followers, it's about giving them good recommendations that is going to improve their life and their work in some way. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose that trust, you're going to lose that value. So with that in mind, let's jump in, and I'm going to have a look at a website and show you what I can earn from an individual post. Okay, so here we go. So this is Inspire, which is a influencer marketing agency, and they have this really helpful and free tool. I'll drop the link in the description below so you guys can use this. But as you can see, you just need to enter your username, your account name on Instagram, and how many posts and stories are going to be in the price. So I'm going to start off with me with just my username, 1 post and 0 stories, and then press calculate, and it comes up with this super helpful table that runs through a few metrics of your account and breaks down what kind of price you should charge. Now, obviously there's quite a big variable there with mine, and that's what I was talking about a minute ago, and it comes down to the quality of your content and what exactly how hard it is to create that content. But to give a rough example, this is estimating that I would charge between $800 and $1,600 for one single post on Instagram. It also gives some really helpful stats there and says, even though I have 133,000 followers, my estimated reach from an individual post is about 26,000 followers. 26,000 people. My engagement rate is just over 4%, which is really good compared to an average account of my size, which is normally about 1.4% once you have this following. So that allows me to make more money from an individual post. So, $800 to $1,600 in pounds is, something like, I think £650 up to maybe £1,400. It's probably slightly more than I charge, generally maybe around £500 upwards per post on my channel. But it depends what I'm doing. Usually I'm not charged for one post. I'll go on a trip and work with a tourist board, and that will include several posts and several stories, and I'll put a price for everything all together. But probably £500 is the minimum, and the most I've ever made from a single post on Instagram is £2,000, which is about $2,500. Now, a lot of people think that is a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, especially £2,000, but you've got to consider that when I get paid that for a post, it's not just clicking one button. It's taking years of skill and knowledge to learn photography, to learn the skills of videography, to create that content. You have expensive equipment that you're using, and you've also spent years developing that following, of engaging with your followers, of putting that hustle and that effort and that time into growing an account that gives you that power to be able to reach people, and that people want to listen to what you say. Now, you can earn still pretty good money with much smaller accounts. I mean, I would say my account is a medium size to maybe even a smaller medium size. There's plenty of people with millions of followers out there, but there's also influencers with 5,000 or several thousand followers that can still earn not bad money, especially if you have very loyal followers and a good engagement rate. So, if you're interested, click on the link below, look at that website and put your username in. You have to have, I believe, a business account for it to work, but it's quite easy to change your account into a business account. It doesn't cost anything, and it gives you some really helpful analytics and metrics on Instagram to see who you're reaching, where and when. Out of interest, let's look at someone with a slightly bigger following, so let's jump back. I'm going to type in Peter McKinnon now. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of him. He's a very famous YouTuber, videographer. He's a very talented guy, and he's got a much bigger following than me. So let's look how much he'd get paid for one post, and you can see the potential of what you can earn through Instagram. Now, as you can see, Peter has 2.5 million followers, which is a pretty large account. His estimated revenue for one post is between $7,500 and $38,000. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he's at the higher end of that because he has a huge amount of influence. As you can see, his engagement rate is 5.3%, and for someone with his following, they normally have about 0.4%, which is absolutely crazy. And that's because he's a YouTuber. A lot of people like and respect him and listen to him. Having said that, he's one of the biggest influencers in the industry of videography and photography, and it's taken him many years and a lot of skill and his personality to be able to build up to something like this. But huge respect, he's very good at what he does and he deserves that. I hope you guys found that useful. As you heard, I earn somewhere between a few hundred and a couple of £1,000s for one post, but I don't do many sponsored posts because it's important to me to make sure I find the right brands and the right products that I want to back and work with. And predominantly, I'm a photographer, not an influencer, so I create content for brands that they post. But I would say that somewhere between 30 to 60%, depending on the year, of my income would come from the influencer posts. If you guys found this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, because it helps me to carry on creating this free content for you guys. If you've got any suggestions of what you'd like me to talk about next, then please do comment below, and I'll see you next week.